Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Friday, the 26th of December. Indian government launches Operation All Out against Bodo militants in northeastern Assam. India and Sri Lanka mark 10th anniversary of 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. And Bollywood turns dark with Anurag Kashyap's Ugly. And now for all the details, Indian government has announced the launch of Operation All Out to eliminate Bodo militants in northeastern state of Assam. This comes as the death toll in the dreaded terror attacks touched 80 on Friday. A report.
Rajnath Singh met Indian Army Chief General Dalbir Singh in capital New Delhi on Friday to review the security situation in the violence-hit state. General Dalbir said the army will intensify its operation against the Bodo militants.
हमारी 66 columns अभी वहाँ पर operate कर रही हैं, and we are definitely going to intensify the operations.
The meeting comes a day after Rajnath Singh visited the Sonitpur district of Assam to take stock of the situation. During his visit, Singh assured a time-bound action against the outlawed National Democratic Front of Bodoland or NDFP militants who carried out the attacks. The districts of Sonitpur and Kokrajhar came under terror strikes late on Tuesday when Bodo militants opened indiscriminate fire, killing scores of villagers including women and children. Many fear the death toll could rise as dozens continue to be in critical situation at various hospitals. Nearly 200 also reportedly remain missing. The local tribals and kin of the victims are carrying on with their protests in the region, seeking the government to book the accused. The NDFP militants have long been engaged in an armed conflict with the administration, demanding a separate homeland for the Bodo tribe of Assam. The northeastern province has more than 30 major tribes and account for nearly 16% of the population.
A day after all political parties in Pakistan agreed to take stern action against terrorists, many have now expressed reservations on the proposal to form military courts in the country. Parties have also objected on government's proposal to crack down on militant-linked seminaries.
Attending the All-Parliamentary Party meeting in capital Islamabad to finalize on the National Action Plan on Wednesday, political leaders were divided on ways to tackle terrorism, even though they all seemed to agree that things were spiraling out of control. Parties are unsure of the Nawaz Sharif government's decision on the formation of special military courts to try terrorists. The Muttahida Qawmi Movement, the Awami National Party, the Pakistan People's Party and the Jamaat-e-Islami, which initially supported the plan, have now expressed reservations on its implementation. The all-party delegation also visited the Peshawar Army School on Thursday to pay homage to the victims of last week's terror attack. Jamaat-e-Islami chief Sirajul Haq, who was part of the delegation, said his party was not in favor of military courts but agreed only due to the current situation in the country.
हमें अफसोस है कि पाकिस्तान का जो मौजूदा सिचुएशन है इसमें तमाम जमातों ने मिलकर मजबूरी की वजह से हालात को नॉर्मल करने के लिए इस तरह फैसला किया गया, वरना सियासी जमातों के लिए मिलिट्री कोर्स पे यकसू होना बहुत मुश्किल काम था.
Jamiat Ulema-e-Islam Supremo Maulana Fazlur Rahman said the military courts should be allowed to function only if it is in accordance with the constitution. He also accused the government of targeting seminaries in the name of anti-terrorist operations. In the wake of the Peshawar school massacre, the government had decided to formulate a curriculum for Islamic seminaries across the country. The Nawaz Sharif government has, however, rejected the allegations. Federal Railway Minister Khwaja Saad Rafiq said the courts will only deal with terror cases and will not be used as a political tool. The Nawaz Sharif government had announced to intensify crackdown on the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan in the aftermath of the Peshawar attack. According to reports, around 150 Taliban-linked militants have been killed and hundreds have been arrested from across the country since last week.
It has been a decade since the giant wave struck the coast of South Asia, washing away acres of land and drowning thousands in the brink of an eye. Let's take a look at how the affected people commemorated the 10th anniversary of the Indian Ocean tsunami.
Holding the memories fresh in their minds, thousands assembled in India's southern coastal city of Nagarcoil to offer prayers for the victims. They offered special prayers at churches and paid tribute to their departed loved ones. Floral tributes were also laid at the tsunami memorial. Many said they were still unable to cope with the loss.
3 ദിവസം കഴിഞ്ഞതിന് ശേഷമാണ് ഞാൻ അറിയുന്നത് സുനാമി പറഞ്ഞ സംഭവം. എൻ്റെ അനിയത്തി മരിച്ചതിൽ അമ്മമ്മ അനിയത്തിൻ്റെ മോള് മറക്കാൻ പറ്റാത്ത ഒരു ഫോൺ നമ്പറില്ല എനിക്ക് വിളിച്ച് പറയാൻ. 2 ദിവസം കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ആരോ ഫോൺ നമ്പർ കൊടുത്തിട്ട് വിളിച്ച് പറയുമ്പോഴാണ് ഞാൻ അറിയണത്.
Southern province of Tamil Nadu was one of the worst hit regions during the 2004 tsunami. In provincial capital Chennai, fishermen took out a rally to observe the occasion. Hundreds of women offered milk to the ocean waves as a mark of tribute. In neighbouring Sri Lanka, the worst hit country, the day was observed amid prayers in its capital Colombo. The country had lost an estimated 36,000 people in the tsunami, including locals and hundreds of tourists. 2 British brothers who lost their family in the 2004 disaster returned to the island nation to pay homage. They also visited a home for children who were orphaned during the calamity.
But Paul and I, some of you may be aware, 10 years ago we had a very bad experience here in Sri Lanka with the tsunami, as did many other people. But it's nice to be able to come back 10 years later and kind of, for us, this is very much us rebuilding our lives, and hopefully we'll see many good stories come from this kids' campus.
An estimated 228,000 people were killed and millions were unaccounted for after the tsunami caused by a 9.1 magnitude earthquake struck coastal regions of Indonesia, India and Sri Lanka.
Pakistani authorities said they have killed the chief facilitator of the Peshawar Army school attack. Khyber Agency political agent Shahab Ali said Saddam, a Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan militant, was shot dead in an operation on Thursday. 6 militants who were also injured in the exchange of fire between the forces and the Taliban in Jamrud province have been taken into custody. According to reports, Saddam was a key commander of the Taliban in Khyber Agency and helped the Taliban gunmen who launched the attack on the army public school in Peshawar. He is also said to be the mastermind behind the 2013 attack on a polio team in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, which killed 11 security personnel. India's ruling Bharatiya Janata Party has confirmed of slashing the healthcare budget by some 20%. Experts say severe financial constraints would mean that many of the planned budget reforms will have to wait until next year. A report.
Reneging on its election promise, the Narendra Modi-led government has slashed nearly $950 million from the Health Ministry's budget of around $5 billion for the current financial year. In addition, more than $200 million will be hacked from the HIV/AIDS program. Even before the cut, analysts say Delhi was hard-pressed to meet its fiscal deficit target this year.
Wait for the next year's budget, which will be presented in the month of, towards the end of February 2015. And the real priorities of this government will get outlined in the budget that will be presented. Next budget, that will be the first full-fledged budget of the Narendra Modi government.
The move throws into doubt the future of Mr. Modi's ambitious universal healthcare program that would have provided all citizens with free diagnosis and medicines as well as insurance benefits over the next 5 years. But it would have cost $25 billion, money clearly the government does not have. And now basic programs around managing infectious diseases and neonatal care are in jeopardy.
In the healthcare system, prevention is the most answer. The doctors in the periphery are not going because they are not being paid well. You need to pay them well. You need to increase the budget. You need to have a proper infrastructure.
Expectations were high that Mr. Modi's promised reforms would be the first step towards modernizing the country's crumbling healthcare system. But the industry's pleas have once again fallen on deaf ears. All it can do now is to hope for a bigger handout in the next budget. Avneet Arora for South Asia Newsline in New Delhi.
A Pakistani court has issued an arrest warrant against Maulana Abdulaziz Ghazi, the cleric of Islamabad's Red Mosque. The warrant was given in a case filed by a group of civil society activists accusing him of criminal intimidation during the ongoing protest outside the mosque. This also comes on the same day the activists had set the deadline for authorities to arrest the controversial cleric. Hundreds have been holding demonstrations outside the mosque since last week, seeking action against Ghazi after he refused to condemn the Peshawar Army school attack. The Red Mosque and its adjoining seminary have been for long known to be sympathizers and supporters of the Pakistan Taliban. A disquieting noir thriller with some dodgy characters prone to dangerous temptations. Bollywood is set to get dark and grey this weekend. Take a look at what's beautiful about a film that's ugly.
A dark, visceral thriller set its viewers a surprising ride. Bollywood film Ugly is already creating much buzz about its hard-hitting subject. The latest from the kitty of maverick director Anurag Kashyap had a starry screening in entertainment capital Mumbai. The cast of the film, including Ronit Roy, Rahul Bhatt, Tejaswini Kolhapuri, Vineet Kumar and Surveen Chawla all came to be a part of the event. The actors said the film required them to be spontaneous.
So this is the only project in my career in which I have gone in completely unprepared. So it's a complete surrender, not to the script because I didn't know what the script was, I didn't know what the story was, but complete surrender to the maker.
Kashyap was accompanied by his production team, including Vikramaditya Motwani and Siddharth Roy Kapoor. The makers were happy the film, which got delayed, was finally releasing.
I'm very happy the film is coming out and I'm very relieved and I'm anxious. I want to see how people react to it because I really think we made a very good film and it's very emotional and very dark, and let's see what happens.
Ugly delves into how people mess up their own lives because of ego, jealousy and misunderstood notions about others around. Filmmaker Sudhir Mishra and actors Alia Bhatt, Shahid Kapoor, Kirti Sanon, Ali Fazal, Sanjay Kapoor and Eli Avram all came to cheer for the team.
They're all really good friends, so I'm here to support them and to say that he's a fantastic filmmaker and everybody out there should go and give this film an opportunity. He usually makes some really amazing films.
Ugly is a story about the events that follow when a 10-year-old girl left alone in a car in a busy Mumbai neighborhood disappears. As her actor father and his casting agent friend go to a nearby police station to lodge a complaint, a tale of corruption, indifference and systematic violence begins. The film had a special screening at the Cannes Film Festival last year. It also opened the New York Indian Film Festival this year.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Indian government launches Operation All Out against Bodo militants in northeastern Assam. India and Sri Lanka mark 10th anniversary of 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. And Bollywood turns dark with Anurag Kashyap's Ugly. Now, viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.